John Charles Scalia Jr. Who's the man coming right at you right now? Well, it's him, and he's big, and he lives his life big. But surely there's more to him than just Roman soldier gear and swords. He's the man with all the gifts, and maybe you've seen them, and maybe you haven't. But if you had, you would have maybe seen them, if you would have seen them. And he's more than just a guy who lets people punch him with shields and things. And he's a guy who can let people punch him with shields, and then he'll smile and he'll take it, like a really nice guy, because he's a nice guy. But that's not all the story. And he's a guy that works out really hard, and even though he's not in his youth exactly anymore, he gives a full effort some of the time, and that full effort some of the time looks pretty intense. And if you're around him when he's giving that full effort, you'll be changed. You'll be changed by his intensity. But that's not even all of the story. He's a man who drives, and he even looks behind himself when he backs up, and he uses the wheel to steer to the right, and then he'll make sure everything's safe, and he'll push the garage door closed, and then he'll pull all the way out. But I'm getting way behind myself here, because I really want this. That's not all the story about John Charles Scalia Jr. Here's some wisdom from the man himself.
Being a Southern California artist, daunting task. It's like a lot more courage than anything I really need to do in the military. Because in the military, there's a lot of group thing. So there's a lot of group bravado, group courage, institutional approval. So it doesn't require necessarily as much courage.
And in addition to saying the cool and wise things like he just said, he's also handsome. And he's handsome from more than one angle. He's worthy of looking at from more than one angle. If you have a chance, take it and look at him from more than one angle. Because it's a worthwhile endeavor to look at his beautiful eyes, and his very distinct nose, and his bigger than average white person lips, and his good style. He has good style. If you know him, you'll see that he has good style.
No, until I took a trip to the other side of town. I heard that boogie rhythm. Hey, I had no chance but to get down.
He also frequents a coffee shop. And if you walk into that coffee shop, this is what the walk into his coffee shop looks like. A door and people and chairs and maybe a baby or whatever. And then when you go around people waiting in line, you might see him sitting. And he might even be texting, and you might even wonder what is he texting. But he won't text that long because he's considerate, and then he'll start talking.
Plus, it's got me on it. Yeah. And I'm wearing this sombrero, and I'm all, hola. I almost wore it, but I thought this one would be chill.
And he's also entertaining, even if he talks most of the time. You're still glad he talks most of the time. And he's also not scared to tell people that they're the reincarnated versions of other people.
Still being a big reminiscent guy of Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly is reincarnate?
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. He's also a great actor. If undiscovered, not for long. He can go into places of business, fully dressed as a Roman soldier, and he can handle the vibes of being a great actor. And he can walk right through your reality and turn your head, and you'll say, whoa, what was that? And it was John Charles Scalia Jr. You remember that. It was John Charles Scalia Jr. Roman soldier today, maybe someone else tomorrow, but unafraid, a courageous man, a man who can do things that takes the bravery and foresight and feet, because you have to keep walking, and all of the things that it takes. And he doesn't care what you project on him, because he's a strong man and he's a strong actor, and he'll just keep walking. And you'll say, whoa, what was that? And you say, John Charles Scalia Jr. That's who it was. So what have we learned here today? I think we've learned that there's a man. And there's a man that has a strong face. He could lead a film. It's so strong. And in addition to being a leading man, he's the type of man that can look directly into the sun, and he can give the human spirit its hope back. A deep hope. And he's also, in addition to that hopeful man, he's the type of man that will let me record him saying, "Great job, Jameson," so I can use it at the end of a film and it sounds like he's giving me props.
Great job, Jameson.